All right, guys, Dr. Decks here. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. We are doing questions and answers. We have had quite a few lately, so we thought we'd try to do our best to answer most of these for you. So please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And here we go. My first question is, steel deck joists. What do I think about them? Well, I think steel deck joists are great. The only issue I've been having is there's two for me. One, being able to get them as far as distribution in my local area. And two, the cost. The cost of steel deck framing is about 4 times as expensive as traditional lumber. And with all the crazy curves and designs that I do, it may not be the perfect answer to what we're looking for. So I do believe in them, and when they become more widely available in my region, I will consider getting my costs on it and then getting that pricing to my clients. All right, when and how did you start building decks? I started building decks right out of high school when I was 18 years old. I took a job with a local management company that used to manage old apartment complexes, and they had old dilapidated rotten decks. And I was on a carpentry crew, and I was basically the gopher and the laborer, and I would tear out the decks and make all the cuts and carry all the lumber and all that stuff. And this old guy that was with me, he would tell me what to do, and I'd help him do it. And we started building decks that way. Then as I got older, when I was 19, I moved to Reno, Nevada, and worked with my father for a couple of years. He was a master carpenter in Reno. And then when I was 21, I moved back up to Washington State, where I still am with my fiance, who is now my wife, and started Dr. Decks. So I've been at it for 30 years now. Do you get any sales from the shows you do? Are they worth the time and effort? Well, my philosophy is if I can get 1 or 2 really good sales from a home show, then it's worth my time and effort. I built the display. My first year is expensive because I built a new display. When I say first year, my first year with a new display. So I got 6 or 7 years out of my last one. I'll probably get 7 to 10 years out of this one. We've used it twice so far, and it's a stunner. My clientele, a lot of people will look at my display and keep on trucking because they look at it and go, oof, out of our price range, honey. We're not stopping. But what I find is I will meet a lot of clients. I never take names. I never ask for a phone number. I give them a card and say, call me when you're ready. We will be here. We will return the call, and then we'll make our appointment. That way I'm not chasing a bunch of leads that end up to selling absolutely nothing over the next few weeks, which is a total burnout. I've done it year after year after year, and I'm getting to the age where I just really don't want to spin my wheels trying to make a sale. I'm still out building these decks. So I just let it come as it is. But yes, I think doing the shows is definitely worth it as long as you put out a really nice product. You're going to get the kind of client that you put out to. So if you're putting out a really cheap and inexpensive deck, then you're going to get cheap and inexpensive clients. If you put out something that not everybody can afford, then you're going to get the upper echelon of the clientele that I'm looking for, which are people that really want a really nice deck. How do you get by on weeks without work? Well, this year that was tough. We were held up 4 months in permitting. We had about 4 to 6 weeks where we didn't have any work scheduled because we had made it through all the projects that we wanted to do. So unfortunately, we didn't really get by. I had to get by on savings and money that I had generated earlier in the year to pay my team. But we did get some really great things done around my house. We finished off some floors. We got some really cool shelves built, cleaned up the space, cleaned up my shop. So all the things that I don't do during the year, like the boneyard and things that get really messy and that I don't necessarily take time to organize, get accomplished when we are down on work. But I don't anticipate this year that we'll be out of work maybe until, I have stuff scheduled pretty much for the most of the year already, and it's just February, so good for us. But yeah, it can be tough when you don't have work. It's difficult to keep your guys employed and, to find that next check that's coming in to pay them. Can you put furniture out before the final inspection? No. I don't recommend doing it. Clients will do it occasionally. I've had clients come out and put a piece of plywood on exposed floor joists and sit in a chair. And I'm like, what are you doing? You trying to get me arrested? But people will do what they're gonna do. You can't stop them. All they can do is put some safety boards up on the house so they cannot access the deck from the house. And then if they wanna climb a ladder and climb up on their deck so they can see their view or whatever, it's really hard to stop that, especially once the decking's laid and the rails aren't up. They just want to come out and start using their deck. And so I have had clients install or put furniture up, and there's not a lot I can do about it. I tell them not to, but they still do. So my professional advice is no. Have you ever had to dig footings on a slope? How deep did you have to go? Whenever I'm working on a slope, we had a engineer call out for 2-foot round and 7-foot deep footings, and that was really deep. So we found a product called diamond pier, and we were able to use diamond piers instead with their pin foundations, and we were able to use those and save a ton of concrete, a pumper truck, and they pass inspection just fine. So I recommend using diamond piers when you're on a slope. What tools do you make Andy and Nazee have that aren't yours? Well, pretty much everything that we have as far as tools on the job site, I own. They use all my tools, so it's basically all my stuff. I do have some personal tools that I use that I don't let the guys use too much, but if they absolutely have to, I will let them use it. But I have my personal bags, they have their bags, so I have a few things that I don't let the other guys use. I just got a new job as a foreman to build decks. Any tips? Establish your expertise and experience with your team. Share your information with them as much as you can. Let them know that you're in charge, but not like telling them, just by showing them. Treat them as equals until they give you a reason not to. Listen to their questions and give them solid direction. Treat them to lunch once in a while. Buy the guys a meal. That goes a long way with a team building experience. And basically, if you gain your crew's respect, they're gonna treat you right, you treat them right, everybody's happy, and you're just gonna get a better final product. With all this darn rain, will you cover the deck or too much of a hassle? The decks I'm currently building both have waterproof bladders, so there will be a covered area in between the main deck and the upper deck. So we're not doing any patio covers on this particular build, but we don't do a ton of them. I'm surprised that we don't do more in Washington State, but yeah, I'm not known as a patio cover guy, but I do build patio covers as well. Thoughts on G-tape the bottom of your fence posts? I don't think it's a bad idea. The first place that a fence post in my state rots is where the dirt line comes up to the post or where the concrete goes up to the post. That's the first place that'll compromise. So I actually wrap the bottoms of my posts when I bury them in concrete for like stairs and that kind of thing. So I don't see why not. TimberTech dry space, or do you have another style of finished areas under a deck? I think TimberTech dry space is a great product to use when you already have a deck installed and you just want to have some dry area. Then look into TimberTech dry space as your under deck solution. Besides great content, any suggestions for growing your Instagram page followers? You know, Instagram lately has been a real challenge for me. I haven't been gaining a lot of followers, not nearly as much as I have in the past, and it's just something you gotta be consistent about. Just constantly put out good content, be consistent with your posts, and engage with your followers, and just keep out putting out stuff that you think your followers wanna see or hear. When's the next automotive deck build? It's been a while since you put some moving parts in. So I think what this question is regarding is automation. Automations are time-consuming, heartbreaking, expensive. I don't make any money on them. The only thing they're good for is the social media and the gains we get from sharing them around the world. Some of my automation videos have been shared more than any other video I've ever shot, and they were crude at the time. So most of the automations I've done so far in this state have failed because electronics and water don't mix. If I was in a drier climate, they might do better. So I kind of stopped doing them for a while. I think I will pick that back up in the future, but you gotta have the right client that's willing to break all the rules. And I have one right now, but I'm not gonna pitch her on doing anything in this deck because I think that it really doesn't need it. So when I find the right person and the right client, I definitely will. Private decks or builder projects. I build mostly for private residences. I don't do a lot of builder projects because usually the builder wants to make a percentage on me, and I'm already one of the highest priced deck builders in the market. So basically, I don't get along with builders. They want me to do their vision even when I have a vision. I haven't found many builders that I can work with that just say, here's a check, go do what you do. We trust you, Dr. Decks. That's just not a reality. And then there's always a timeline, and I'm under the gun, and there's, I'm not saying no, but right now 100% of everything I build is for private clients, not for builders. Go-to fastener for most decks. I go with Fasten Master. That's plain and simple, down and dirty Fasten Master. Do you take American Express? No, I do not. As a matter of fact, I quit taking credit cards because when you're building a $100,000 deck, that's like $3,000 right out of your pocket. And I just got tired of seeing those charges, man. It was just frustrating. People do it for the airline miles. I say, hey, I'll buy you an airline ticket. And usually by then they're like, no big deal, we'll just cut you a check. Most of the clients that I work for are pre-qualified, and they don't need to use credit cards to pay for their deck. All right, guys, so that concludes our question and answers for today. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to click that subscribe button and share this information with all your friends and anybody else you know that might be interested in our page. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.